So I'm out in my garden. We had a really hard rain a few days ago, and I wanted to show you what lack of planning looks like in a garden. So here I have my walkway bed, and it doesn't really look visually appealing, does it? This is a result of just throwing plants in anywhere, and we're gonna fix that. Whenever you get plants, you have to make sure you have enough space for them. Now, some varieties of lavender can get pretty big. So I'm going to show you guys how we're going to fix this. I have to move some plants around. There I have a lavender. I have a catmint here. Here I have some yarrow. I have another catmint that looks small because I gave it a really hard cut, but it was just as big as that one over there. This is another lavender that I have. Believe it or not, this is another lavender. It's just variegated. That's why it looks a little different than the others. This shrub here, it's gonna stay here. Now, what's gonna end up happening if I leave this catmint here where it is, it can get pretty big, as you see over there. So what's gonna end up happening is it's going to grow on top of this lavender. Lavender's not gonna be happy. There's just too much overcrowding here. So I have my tools. So I have my hose ready. I have my shovel, some gardening gloves, and some little pruners here, which I don't really have the heart to trim the flowers off of the lavender plant. I may or may not trim the catmint. I just don't have the heart to do it because there's pollinators all over these plants. Okay, so we've dug out our first lavender. Before I dug the lavender out, I also dug this hole out to make sure that the hole was ready for the lavender to be planted in. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna check, see where that soil level line is, just to make sure that way we can add more soil at the bottom before we put this plant in there. So I'm gonna level it up a little bit more. That definitely looks better. Then we're gonna take the rest of the soil, we're gonna tamp it down, make sure all the roots are covered, and then we're gonna water this in before we cover it back up with mulch. Okay, it's the next day and we're out here. Wanted to show you guys what happens after you transplant a plant. And it's very normal. A lot of people think that their plants are dead. Oh my God, my plant is dead, I killed it. No, it's just going through transplant shock. Now, this lavender here, it handled the transplant like a champ. There's minimal wilting. I mean, we do have a little here, you can see. There's more wilting here. But overall, it does not look bad at all. Most of the plant is upright. It's okay. And I also checked the soil on all of them to make sure that it was moist. And the soil's moist. You want to keep the soil moist, at least for the first week, while they get acclimated to their new homes. This is a catmint. Definitely some wilting. This morning when I walked by here to walk my dog, it was not wilted, but transplant coupled with hot afternoon sun, and this is what happens when you transplant a plant. Even though it's maybe drought tolerant and full sun loving, this is normal. It'll be fine. It will be totally fine, I promise. This lavender, it really looks dead. But I promise you, it is not dead. This is what it looked like last year when I put it in the ground. When I brought it home from the nursery and I put it in the ground, this is what it looked like. And then a few weeks later, it was fine. And then it came back this year. It's fine. It's not dead. This catmint, you might remember, was on this side of the walkway garden bed. And it was very large. It was sitting in front of that lavender there. And it was too big. So I cut it back, gave it a hard prune so that it would be easier for me to transplant it to where I needed it. Here we have that huge lavender that we had on this side of the walkway. Definitely wilting, as you can see. But it's not dead. It will be fine. I promise you. And there's also some flopping in the middle. So I'm going to give you guys an update next week, maybe the end of the week. That way you guys can see these plants are not dead. They're okay.